Hey there everyone, this is Samuel Johnson and welcome back to the Alien Force Retrospectives. As today we're going to be looking at episode 16 of Ben 10 Alien Force, Good Copy, Bad Copy. And the episode opens with, Ben as Humongous Star attacking a fortress of Forever Knights. The Forever Knights he seems to be doing a good job, but then he manages to corner one and he starts questioning him, saying, I'll ask you for the last time, where is he? The Forever Knight doesn't know what's going on. He thinks, why are you asking this? You already know it. What's going on? And so he transforms back and then asks a very strange question. Where is Ben Tennyson? Which is kind of weird if you actually think about it, because he is Ben Tennyson, or at least he looks like it. So it turns out, and so after he destroys it, he runs away, but at that time, Gwen and Kevin were tracking him because Kevin's been getting has been hearing about all these things going on in the alien underground, and Ben's name has been coming up a lot. So they track him down to the fortress as he leaves, and they question a Forever Knight, and he tells about how Ben for the last few days has been attacking their fortresses, and even rumor has it that he actually took down a hive of DNA aliens. So they're of course wondering what's going on, what's going on, because this is just acting weird, and so they track Ben down. So they go to Ben's house where he's actually kind of having fun. Where he and Julie are actually talking. He's getting advice from her He's getting advice from her for studying for a calculus exam, which is his worst subject. And while he's eating they're both having some chili fries, and so Gwen and Kevin confront Ben, but he has no idea what they're talking about. And at the end, they do eventually believe him, because Kevin says that when Ben lies, his left eye twitches. So they decide. So they're still trying to figure out what's going on. Ben thinks, well, I can't do this if I can't have any I can't do this on an empty stomach. So he tries having more chili fries. Turns out Julie ate the rest. It's actually rather amusing. So they go to a place called Burger Shack where they're selling the chili fries, and strangely enough, that's what we see Ben already, except he's acting more erratic. And I'm gonna just spoil this right now because it was actually revealed in the previews for this episode. Ben is an evil twin, and this guy is Ben's evil twin. Sorry, my dog is right there. I'm hoping he doesn't cause any more technical difficulties. Stay there. Anyway, so Ben's evil twin goes in there and he's just demanding chili fries, though for some reason he thinks they're disgusting, even though he actually finds himself craving them every time he comes here. And right after he buys them, Ben comes walking in, orders chili fries himself, and so as Gwen and Kevin are waiting outside for Ben, Ben's twin comes out and goes big chill and flies away, with Gwen and Kevin following after him. And at that moment, Ben sees them driving off. He doesn't know what's going on, so he also goes big chill and follows them. And so Gwen and Kevin meet up with Ben's evil double while he's attacking another base of Forever Knights, and he's still questioning where's Ben. So of course, it looks like he's getting overrun. So Gwen and Kevin go in to help him, and they're asking what's going on. What's going on? Why are you acting so weird? And so he transforms back and tries to pretend to be Ben, and yeah, his acting's awful. But then Ben comes in, transforms back, and that's when they finally meet. At which point, his double demands the Omnitrix after revealing his name as Albedo, Galvin. Which even Ben is wondering what the heck's going on. What the heck's up with that? On top of that, Albedo says that he is the true creator of the Omnitrix, which if you've seen Secret of the Omnitrix, then you know that's a load of crap, which even Ben points out, because he says, well, a guy named Aswood made this. What's going on? Albedo says he's a liar, and that the Omnitrix is prone to catastrophic malfunction, and that it needs to be repaired, and that the only reason it hasn't gone nuts before is because Ben's been lucky. And so they begin questioning him and saying, what's going on then? Why do you look like me? And so Albedo reveals what's going on. It turns out that his Omnitrix, when he built his Omnitrix, it synced up completely with Ben's, meaning that every single alien he has access to are only aliens Ben has access to. He can't turn anything else, he can't unlock anything else. The only way he can get more creatures is if Ben gets access to more aliens. But there's also a problem with that. He said he was a Galvin, and yet he looks human, and the reason is because of his Omnitrix. It turns out that when his Omnitrix got synced up with Ben's, it synced up completely. And for Ben, his Omnitrix has set the human DNA, aka Ben's DNA, as the default genetic structure, since Ben is human. As such, when Albedo uses his Omnitrix, his Omnitrix immediately resets his default to be exactly like Ben's, meaning that every time he goes alien, he will always turn back into Ben. He can't turn back into his Galvan form. So of course, they begin questioning Albedo some more. He still claims that he wants the Omnitrix to help or fix it or something, but he turns out his left eye is twitching, so they know he's lying. So he just attacks them, manages to get away, but they manage to track him because he was all over the place. So his man is still all over. So Gwen's able to track him, and they track him down to a computer warehouse where he's apparently been attacking people. So Ben, Gwen, and Kevin go inside to look for him. Then Gwen and Kevin end up falling into a trap set by Albedo as he pretends to be Ben and says, "Over there, guys," and he's still a bad actor. And he just hits them with packing foam, which I kind of wonder why a computer warehouse would even have that on standby, but in a hose at least. But he straps him to a wall. Ben confronts him, and so it leads to a very awesome moment where where Ben and Albedo just start going alien and start duking it out. And admittedly, something that I find it just kind of. Admittedly, something that I kind of feel was a missed opportunity was to have them turn to the same alien and have them fight it off, but admittedly, maybe it wouldn't be as epic, and it'd also be kind of confusing, because they both look exactly the same. Exactly the same when they go alien. But otherwise, it's still a very fun battle, as throughout the entire battle, they keep fighting, keep using their aliens' powers, and every time one of them gets the upper hand, the other just transforms into another alien, and it's actually really nice. It's actually a very nice battle, especially when you know Albedo's with Albedo. But even in the battle, Albedo tells him you can't keep this up. Eventually, your Omnitrix will lose power, which ultimately does happen as Ben goes Chroma Stone is about to deck Albedo, and then the Omnitrix times out. And so Albedo, kind of being arrogant, he mocks him and then turns back into his human form and states, "Well, I don't need my Omnitrix to beat you." So he goes to punch Ben goes to punch him back, and it leads to and what happens is that when they're Omnitrix, but unfortunately, it's both of their left arms. So when as their arms pass by each other, their Omnitrixes react and then just attack. And both of their faceplates pop up and attach to the other, and they both get stuck. Ben and of course Albedo says this is a bioenergy feedback. What happened? A bioenergy feedback. Both Omnitrixes with the similar powers and so forth are reacting to each other, and they're latching on. And it's causing mayhem between both of them. So Ben and Albedo keep trying to pull it apart as they're both struggling, the energy feedback winds up negatively impacting Albedo's Omnitrix, and it causes his human form to become altered. Like, he still looks like Ben, but now all of his regular colors, except for his skin and the whites of his eyes, are now different. He has white hair, a red jacket with black lines, but some slightly darker pants. He's become a complete and almost negative of Ben, pretty much. So now you can easily tell them apart. And as such, as they're both struggling, Gwen and Kevin are able to free themselves from the packing foam. But just as Ben and Albedo manage to separate their Omnitrixes, there's a light in the middle of the room, and we get the reappearance of Azimuth, who has kind of gotten older, as he seems a bit more. He seems wiser. There's a little bit of his regular crankiness there, but instead of his voice is now different. It actually is older and kind of it sounds like this. And it turns out the reason he's here is partly because Ben constantly going alien, warning him that if he keeps doing that, he'll break the Omnitrix, but also because he's aware of what Albedo did. It turns out that when Albedo said he was the creator of the Omnitrix, he was fibbing, but he actually was connected with it, because Albedo actually was once Azimuth's assistant. Unfortunately, because of this, he believed that, well, Ben shouldn't have the Omnitrix. He's just an inferior human. I should have it. Azimuth said, no, he's more capable than you. He's probably the best to wield it. And as such, Albedo, just in arrogance, he decided to make his own Omnitrix, which resulted in him which unfortunately is what resulted in him becoming him in all this. And it turns out the reason he wants Ben's Omnitrix is, as I stated before, the only aliens Albedo can turn into are aliens Ben has access to, meaning his Galvan form, gray matter, is locked out because Ben no longer has access to that form. As such, the reason Albedo wanted the Omnitrix at all was not because he wanted it for himself, but because he wanted to restore his original form. He wanted to be able to turn back into he wanted to turn into gray matter and become a Galvan again. But as such, Azimuth says, you're unworthy now, you're inferior. And so he deactivates Albedo's Omnitrix and then teleports him away. As such, Azimuth tells Ben that Azimuth tells the Ben that he's probably the best he's probably the best suited person to wear it, which is actually kind of amusing when you actually know what happens later on in the series. But anyway, he tells him that there's gonna be tremendous trials ahead. Ben should be prepared and so forth. And then as such, Ben goes to his calculus test, which he'd been studying for, gets a C+. And the episode ends with Albedo locked up in an alien cell, claiming that one day he will return and get revenge on everyone. So, honestly, just the very nature of the episode it makes it one of my favorites. I love Dark Doppelgangers, and as mentioned I think I might have mentioned this way back in the Kevin 11 vlog. Correct me if I didn't, but otherwise, pretty much every season, the show has every series anyway. The show has had a Dark Doppelganger. In the classic series, it was Kevin because he absorbed all of Ben's powers and turned into an amalgam. And in this case, it's Albedo, who in this season is for this series is unlike Kevin. He's a complete double. Because he's in Ben's body, he's adopted some of his mannerisms, which is evidenced by his love of chili fries, his left eye twitching, and as Albedo puts it, scratching himself in places that he believes are inappropriate, is actually rather amusing. However, the difference is that unlike Ben, he has no moral qualms with hurting people. He's actually smarter than him because because he was originally a gray matter. And as such, it actually is really, really nice because they both are very skilled, and just to see them clash is rather nice because he is an exact equal to Ben. He knows how to use the Omnitrix, he knows about each of the alien strengths and weaknesses. It's rather nice. And he does appear another time in this show, but only once. He does make an appearance in Ultimate Alien, and in Omniverse they do bring him back as a much major villain, and for some reason they start calling him Albedo. I don't know why, and I don't like it. It's just dumb considering that in Alien Force and Ultimate Alien he was called Albedo, but as such, I'm just gonna keep calling him Albedo, and that's kind of the last I'll talk about Albedo. So pretty much, I do like the episode just for that. It's pretty basic in that regard. Just to kind of see Ben, because the whole crux of the episode is just Ben battling his evil doppelganger. But I think there are some other nice stuff that are brought out. Specifically, I think a prominent example is Julie. Back in I'm trying to remember what that episode was called. Episode 6. I know it was episode 6. Max out. No, this was episode 5. Peer Pressure, yeah. It was 7, episode 7. In Peer Pressure, we saw a bit of Julie, and I made the comment that in her first appearance, she was just kind of a generic, that she just kind of felt like the generic girlfriend, like, oh, I'm supportive of you. This episode kind of expands on her some more. We see that she's actually smart. She's actually very smart. She can be a little silly, and what's actually nice is, and it's even nicer that she does kind of find some of Ben's quirks kind of adorable. In this case, I got a bit and it's just a small window in this episode. We see how this is going, and even her reaction to all the weird stuff. She's getting more used to it, and one of my favorite moments is just when Ben wants to get chili fries, and then they're all gone. He looks at Julie, he's like, "I thought you said you didn't want any." She's just like, "What? They're good." That's just amusing. It's really amusing. On top of that, it's nice. We get some nice reappearances of other characters from the show. It's a nice reappearance of Azimuth from Secret of the Omnitrix, as he does become more prominent in the series beyond this, which I like. His personality does shift a little. There is a little grumpiness, but not a lot anymore. But not as much as in his first appearance. As such, but he's still rather nice, especially when he becomes more prominent and and at least at first be kind of a mentoring figure to Ben with the Omnitrix, which I like. I'm trying to think what else was there. I think one of the weaker portions of the episode are kind of the fights with Albedo. I mean, I don't get me wrong, there's still nice fights because I love the whole Dark Doppelganger thing where they both where two proponents with with the same powers and equal strength duke it out. I love seeing that, especially I like seeing that, and I do enjoy the Albedo fights in this episode. But I think the biggest weakness is that they don't go as far as they could. Especially with the fact that he is Ben's exact double. Well, with powers anyway. So it feels like he could go far more out, but it doesn't really do that as much in this episode. So I don't know. I don't know. There is some slight humor with Albedo and the fact that he's trying to get used to his when he get used to his human form. As I mentioned, he was just pretty much he pretty much detests all the human qualities, but he still falls for them anyway. Especially when, and then there's even the moments where he tries to pretend to be Ben, and I'm kind of surprised anyone falls for it. Like when he first encounters Gwen and Kevin, like he's able to trick them by saying. He's able to trick them by saying, "Oh man, I shouldn't have erased this mark," as they put a small X on Ben to try and distinguish him, but then he just wiped it away. But he's obviously not Ben because he's just he's just a bad actor. His voice is off, his inflections are off. He gets the oh man. It's like William. It's like William It's like William Shatner's playing him. It's rather funny. It's really funny. It's kind of funny. There's also the whole calculus thing, which isn't really important in the grander scope, but otherwise, I think this is a fine episode. It only reaches on my favorites list because it introduces Albedo, who is a very good villain because he's a true dark doppelganger. But otherwise, yeah, I think the episode by its own is actually just okay, not bad at all. Because I still enjoy it. I still enjoy it. I like that it introduced the dark doppelganger. I think it's good in its own way. I just feel that there actually are better episodes in the show. Again, don't hate it at all. I still enjoy it, and I still enjoy it for some of the stuff I brought up, but otherwise, it's just good, basic good. So, yeah, I think that's really all I have to say. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson, and tune in next week where we see another one of Ben's aliens go nuts. Anyway, so see you next week, and hope you have a good weekend. Take care.